Hello, good morning, and welcome to another exciting episode of WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Mark Frechette.
And I'm Scott Guerin, the Research Development Chef here at Modernist Pantry.
And today we have a really exciting episode for you, especially those of you out in the audience who are plant-based. Today we're talking about Modernist Pantry's Druids Groves Vegan Cheese Kits. And in terms of volume, you'll see it's, so far for a WTF episode, the most product that we've been able to have and showcase inside of a single episode. But this will be a quick and fun one because of how quick and easy the recipe is, right?
Yeah, so it's really easy to make your own vegan cheese, and each one of these kits gives you about a pound of cheese per kit. And as you can see, we have three. We have a cheddar, we have a brie, and we have a mozzarella. And all three of them are very different, not only in flavor, but in look and what you can do with them. So I'm actually going to show you how to make the vegan cheddar right now. And it's only going to take about 5 minutes. You want to pop open that box right there, Mark. So the first we need, the only thing that doesn't come inside the box is water. So we have 1.5 cups of water. I'm just going to pop it in a blender. And this will get loud in just a few seconds when I actually get it on.
Actually, let's give Cole a heads up so we can lower the volume as well. And those of you at home, just...
Yeah, pop out those earbuds. All right, so then we have our cheese mix. So what this does is, this is where everything is. This has your kappa carrageenan, which we'll talk about in a little bit, your tapioca starch. The only thing it doesn't have in here is your lactic acid, and that's the most important part.
Yeah.
To get that real cheese kind of flavor, that acidity that comes with a traditional cheese, but obviously making it vegan here.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit more about where that goes into the kit and the mix a little bit later, which you have to put it in pretty specific to make sure that this is perfect.
It is the difference between blah and bam in terms of these cheese recipes.
And don't lose it. It's just a little packet that comes in. And what else do you have here, Mark?
So we also have the recipe guide. Now this will actually, one book, I happen to just keep wine in my cutlery drawer because I keep going through these kits. But the recipes itself, it'll have the recipe for all of the cheeses in here, as well as an introduction and some of the story about how the cheese came to be, and all of that as well. So it's probably the most in-depth recipe guide you've ever seen. Even though the recipe is super easy, straightforward. Go ahead, I'll let you.
All right.
Do your
So
thing.
very simple. I'm just going to put my water in. I'm going to put the top on and open the porthole. And then I'm just going to get it on and start a vortex. So I want it to go, and I want it to continue to spin. And then I'm going to add my cheese mix. So let me do that.
That Breville vent, as far as blenders go, this Breville is really quiet.
Oh, it's really amazing. So once it's all mixed in, I can go ahead and shut it off. And it's that simple, really, just to mix it in. The reason why I don't put the cheese mix in and then add the water is that it's going to absorb water, and sometimes it just clumps and sticks to the bottom, and then you have to get in there with the spatula, and sometimes it doesn't mix all the way. So start that water in there first, and then mix in your cheese mix.
Now, one of the things, I don't know if we said this is going because it was already out too. Also in the kit, most of the kits you'll find the purified coconut oil as well. This is a very special coconut oil in addition to being organic. It's highly purified, so it's descented and doesn't have any noticeable flavors. So that means you won't have coconut flavored cheese.
Yes. So I did a little bit of cheating as I popped this out of the kit early and I heated it up. You can do that in two ways. You can make a little pot of simmering water, pop this in there and allow it to heat that way. Or if you have a microwave that has the ability to lower the power on it, put it on low power and then just heat it maybe 45 seconds to a minute until it is melted completely. You don't want to overheat it. It is oil. It is going to heat up very hot and it could potentially melt the bottle, so you just need to do it gently.
Better go in safe small increments than to risk having the plastic melt. And
yes, so I take my cheese mix here and I'm going to put it into a pot. I just make sure I scrape the sides just to get all the contents out. I mean, you should do that with everything so we're not wasting any food at any time. So I'm going to put that right in. And then I'm going to add the coconut oil. So I can put in the coconut oil and it's going to look like, oh no, this coconut oil is not going to mix in immediately. What did I do? Did I do something wrong? No. The kappa carrageenan that is inside the cheese mix is going to bring it all together, and it's going to give it that really rich, fatty mouthfeel that you would naturally get from a traditional cheese. So I'm just going to mix it up. And Mark, you want to tell the people a little bit about where these cheeses came from?
ModernistPantry.com. No, I know that's not what you mean. All right, so those of you in the vegan community, you've probably heard of the Gentle Chef. You've probably downloaded one of his many ebook cookbooks, or even had a chance to experience some of the products he's co-developed, like the vegan egg. These kits were developed with the Gentle Chef, Sky Michael Conroy. So that means it's got that really strong analog to the real thing while being all cruelty-free. All the ingredients are cruelty-free. Working with Modernist Pantry, we put a little bit of a spin on the traditional recipe. Modernist Pantry, known for magical ingredients for transforming food, we took an already transformative recipe and brought in a couple of additional flavorings. And that makes the cheddar more cheddary, the mozzarella more mozzarella-y, and the brie more brie-y.
Yes. So, as you can see, it's starting to come together and starting to thicken up, and you see maybe little tiny clumps. At this point, you want to mix vigorously, right? You want to make sure that fat is mixed in, and you want to make sure those little itty-bitty clumps come together and make a nice homogeneous mixture. So I'm just going to stir.
Now you can, sorry.
No problem. You want to make sure to have a nice heavy bottom pot. If you're using a gas or electric stove. Here I'm using an induction burner, a Breville Polyscience Control Freak, which is a really precise one. Obviously, not all of us have this, but if you wanted to have it, you could get it at
ModernistPantry.com.
Look at that, fed right into it. So as you can see, it's starting to come together. It's nice and smooth at this point. Now is when you want to add your lactic acid. If you add your lactic acid too early, that is going to affect how the kappa carrageenan works. You want to make sure that the mixture is not too acidic, so that gelling property happens really nicely and it makes a nice firm cheese. Because I'm sure we've all had vegan cheeses that are not firm enough.
Yeah.
They're a bit too soft and they don't taste or feel anything like a traditional cheddar would.
Yeah.
So just make sure that's mixed in. And as you can see, if you wanted to use this right now, you could probably make an amazing mac and cheese. Right, Mark?
Confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that because you love the mac and cheese made with this.
Yeah. It's really difficult. I think the second time I made this or something like that, a significant portion of it was gone at this point.
So it's not difficult in the cheese making. It's the difficult in you having a problem not eating it all immediately.
As a wise man once said, the wait is the hardest part. But there's not much of a wait. If you've made your own vegan cheeses before, especially those of the aged nut variety, you know that there's you gotta wait a while for it, and you get the cultures and all that stuff. This is a really interesting alternative to that, because while there's a little bit of a drying period, it's a matter of, you can actually use it as soon as it firms up, but it's ready next day. And perfect the next day. It's ready to use pretty much that day if you're impatient. But it's not an aged product. But because of that lactic acid, you still get a lot of that cheesy tardiness. I'm looking for a better word there, but it gives it that flavor that you'd be looking for in an aged product.
Yep, so the lactic acid gives it almost that fermented flavor that would naturally come from a cheese. Lactic acid, not coming from milk, it's actually animal. I'm sorry, it is not an animal product, it is a vegetable-based product, and it happens in all sorts of fermentation. If you're making pickles, cucumber pickles at home, that's a lactic acid fermentation. So actually, if I give this about 20 to 30 minutes in the refrigerator, it's going to firm up. And I'm going to show you a little product that I had already made this morning.
See you soon, cheese friend.
Yeah. Through the magic of TV, you can see
Bam!
I have a really beautiful cheddar block here that I can use immediately. This one I would maybe wrap in some paper towels and just let it sit for a day or two. The longer it goes and dries out a little bit, the more cheesy it's going to get.
Yeah, it's really good the first day, but even in the instruction booklet, it'll tell you the different cheeses are wrapped in different things. It's either paper towel or parchment, depending on what you're making. But that drying period really makes all the difference. So if you do try a bit the first day and you're like, man, this is okay, tomorrow it's going to be amazing. Just wrap it and make sure to change the wrapping as you go.
So I'm going to actually take a little bit of the mozzarella here. The mozzarella is a nice, firm, mildly flavored cheese, good salt content, and also good meltability. And I'm going to show that off right now. As you can see how well it grates, just like traditional mozzarella would.
Yeah.
Dry, low moisture mozzarella. And I'm going to put it right in here. So if you're making pizza or you're making even a grilled cheese with this, is really great.
Yeah.
Just going to allow it to melt. And what if people don't want to necessarily buy the case? I know that generally vegans have coconut oil on hand.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a descented one. Some of them already have lactic acid on hand if they purchase it from us.
We do tend to hoard the weird stuff, don't we?
Yes.
All right, so that's the good news. Is taking that into account, Druids Grow vegan cheese kits are available a few different ways. You can buy the, I'm going to make sure I grab the right one every time. You can buy the individual cheese kits. This will have everything you need for one cheese except the mold. You'll notice we used a Druids Grove official green mold.
Yes.
Just know that whatever you pour it into is what it's going to look like coming out. So if you poured it into a Rubbermaid thing, you would have backwards Rubbermaid branded cheese, but it would still be delicious. But treat yourself to a mold. It should be beautiful. You'll also be able to find the value pack. Now this is a 3-kit kit. It lets you make one of each of the cheeses and has everything you need in the package for that. You'll also find one other option, and this is a rare one for us in the kits. It's almost everything you need. So it'll be the 3 flavor packs. Now you'll have everything you need except the coconut oil. And again, so that'll let you that'll make the brie, the mozzarella, the cheddar, but you won't have the coconut oil you're going to need to complete the recipe. Again, you can use your own coconut oil that you happen to have, but you want to make sure that it's the highly refined, descented, or deflavored, or that you really like the concept of a coconut cheddar. I personally don't think that sounds appealing. And again, our coconut oil, if you even just try it, it has no discernible coconut flavor, though it's got all the great coconut goodness.
Yeah. All the properties of coconut oil, just that coconutty flavor that was great in cookies isn't necessarily great in cheese. But as you can see here, is I have the mozzarella that we've made, and you can see a nice stretch on that.
Yeah. Now, compared to like the nacho cheese that we featured in the first recipe, obviously this is going to be like super long and gooey because it doesn't have the casein in it. But in terms of vegan cheeses, that's a considerably cool melt, especially for something that you've made yourself. And because you've made it yourself, one, be proud of it, but two, you can remix it, have some fun with the recipe. Always make sure the first one you do is according to the instructions, but after that, go ham.
And it'll also brown and get those nice kind of crispy bits if you are making a pizza.
Yep.
So you get all the benefits of it.
Yeah, or if you just leave them in the pan and make mozzarella crackers, which I totally have not done, have absolutely done. All right, so a little bit on the flavor. So the cheddar, it's mild, it's melty, it's very, very aromatic as well. You're gonna want to keep it sealed for its own keep, and that'll keep in the fridge for about, safely, I think, about 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks is where you want to.
And then if you I actually keep mine wrapped while it was stored. So just, if you do decide to keep it wrapped, to keep drying it, just make sure to change out your paper towels or your cloth, your clean cloth, whatever you're using to dry it. The mozzarella, as you saw, is a firm, melty. It's a very mild flavored mozzarella, so it's more akin to a dry mozzarella than, say, the buffalo or the fresh mozzarella. And the brie.
The brie's great.
The brie. Okay,
Brie's my favorite.
So they're all good. We're not allowed to have favorites, but if we were, technically, I think we'd all agree the brie is just to die for. One, while you could go to your local high-end grocer and find some of these things, finding a vegan brie, period, is nearly impossible. But finding a good one. And here's one you can make yourself.
Yeah, you can make it yourself. It's a little bit softer. The recipe is not the same as the other ones, as it should be, because this is a softer cheese naturally.
Yeah.
And it has all that kind of, tart, sharp flavor that you would find in a brie, and it spreads. So you can take it from the refrigerator and spread it immediately. You can't really do it with the mozzarella or the cheddar in this case, because those are harder, firmer cheeses.
Yeah.
But the brie, you can absolutely spread, and I spread some on a cracker right there. I'm sure you're going to eat it.
I am.
I was hoping for after the shoot, but no.
No. We can always do another one. Oh my god.
There it is.
I'm gonna need a minute. You're gonna have to carry the show for a second.
So I just want to make sure that people know that we have 2 different sizes of the coconut oil. It is organic, which is really beneficial as you want the highest quality coconut oil when you're making anything. So you can get it in the 4 ounce that either comes inside the kits, or you can get this larger one if you wanted to buy the multi-pack of kits. Then you get one of these, and you can make all the cheese that you want.
I'm sorry, I was
You're
lost
still
in
going?
cheese land.
Well, that's wonderful, Mark. So we can talk about the other products just quickly. If you wanted to get the Kappa carrageenan, this is the one that gives it that really firm texture, along with the, that's far gum, but the tapioca starch. Those really make the nice, firm, texture. And those are the things that Sky Michael Conroy originally used to, make all these cheeses.
Yeah, and a few things on the cheeses now that I'm back from Cheeseland. Of course, clearly they're all vegan. They're also all going to be non-GMO. They're all going to be gluten. Yes, they're all gluten-free. Yep, and of course they're all dairy-free. Comes along with being gluten. There's also 1% for the animals for each purchase, which is always a great thing, as well as is with all Druids Groves items.
And one last thing, you can get lactic acid in one of these containers as well.
Yeah.
We couldn't get every single one out here, else Mark would be covered up completely.
I would. Yeah, it's bad enough I'm only shoulder height. It's really to stack them up in front of me. Just showing up like so, all right, now, look, we've got it out on a great cheese spread, of course. For the vegans, you'll be able to use this anywhere you'd use a cheese. So the cheddar's great on a grilled cheese. It's great out on a plate. It's amazing in a mac and cheese. Kind of partial to the carb combinations. The brie is perfect on its own. It's great for hosting. You were telling me that you can wrap it in the pastry.
Yeah, so if you have a vegan puff pastry, or if you make vegan puff pastry, you can wrap it in with your favorite jam or caramelized onions that we have here. And you bake it in the oven. You get a nice brie and croûte that you cut it open. You got melty brie, you got the caramelized onions, and you got carbs, just like you like with your cheese.
That's what I go for. That's the primary food group. And of course, the mozzarella is just to die for. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's super convenient to be able to have it, make it, go out and get it without having a ton of plastic packaging and some other things around as well. All right. So look, guys, if you want to try out any of the kits for yourself, or if you want to get the raw ingredients to try out the original Gentle Chef recipes without the flavor packets, you can get it all at www.modernistpantry.com. That's www.modernistpantry.com. So yeah, definitely come on over, check it out. And wherever you're watching this video, make sure to hit a like button, the subscribe button, and leave a comment below on what you're looking for in our next WTF. If this is your first one joining us, well, hi. Hey, thanks for coming. Every week on WTF, we feature a new ingredient and how it transforms food. We talk about what it can make better, what can make, in this case, possible with the vegan cheese lines. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on WTF, where we transform food. We really appreciate you coming by. Again, like up, subscribe, leave a comment. We love you so much, and head on over to modernistpantry.com to pick up some of these products for yourself. I'm Mark Frechette.
I'm Scott Guerin.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.